All right, you're on the Ozone with Oscar Alonso. I have a special guest, Mike Galusic of Strange Stuff Studios, right?
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Right on. But yeah, so you and I were just talking about like great comic book duos the other day, and we started throwing names out there. So we decided, hey, let's talk about some. So the first name on the table, hands down, you and I agreed on a lot when they worked together, was J. Michael Straczynski and John Romita Jr., son of the legendary John Romita Sr.
Yes, that kid was just born with artistic talent.
He's like the strange mutant offspring of, Romita Sr. The kid, this is a guy who says he likes drawing Punisher because it reminds him of one of his uncles. I really got to see this guy in real life. And the cool part is, met him in New York Comic Con back in '99 once. Kind of not a douchebag. He's got that really thick New York accent going on,
Yeah.
He shakes your hand, he autographs the shit out of your stuff, and of course, when you, like me, I showed him like some of my art, and he critiqued the hell out of it and destroyed my pride. But he made sure he kept saying those last two words I love to hear: keep drawing. So, really cool guy. And as for Straczynski, the man can write. What can I say? He made Spider-Man interesting for me again for a while.
Yeah, like Straczynski loves mystical elements to things.
Right.
But he also writes mystical elements from a scientific viewpoint.
Right.
Because I hate mystical characters. I do. Like Doctor Strange, I could care less about Doctor Strange. But somehow Straczynski writes it in a way that makes it interesting from someone who looks at things logically, like I do. And so when I was reading his, when I started reading his run of Back in Black right before One More Day, which everybody hates but me. I liked it so much. It was so emotionally driven and so multi-layered that I wanted to read more of his stuff. And so I started actually going backwards and trying to find more of his Spider-Man stuff. And I ran into the story arc where him and Romita Jr. were working on it at the same time. I was like, what? Amazing! So
I got blown away. Actually, I did not know anything about Straczynski at all. I was blown away by the cover of Amazing Spider-Man where he's like perched on his gargoyle in the pouring rain.
I think I have that one.
And I have it too. And I was like, wow, that art really looks familiar. Like, this reminds me of like this old Daredevil comic I had from back in the day when Frank Miller was like, rewriting Daredevil.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is the same artist. Oh, this is sweet. I started reading it and it like started blowing my mind because I was like, his run when he fought, what was that one villain's name? He was all about, like, he's absorbing...
Morlun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, after the whole Morlun saga, and they started the one with this Wasp lady or whatever, I started seeing how, like, Peter Parker and Mary Jane's relationship was, like, strained, and I've always read other comics where, like, yeah, they argue, and it looks like they're going to divorce, but they're not. They get back together.
Yeah.
The way Straczynski wrote that one part, you were really believing they were getting divorced. Like, she had her own place in L.A., her own life, and Peter would try to come through on a promise, but he'd come up short, and that's where your favorite character, Doctor Strange, came into play. And Peter tried to tell like Mary Jane he loved her, but it was an astral projection, so she couldn't hear him at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and it like really had me nervous. Like, wow, Peter Parker's really gonna get divorced. This is gonna be awesome. Like, wow, what's this gonna do to him? And he was like, in my opinion, he was kind of teetered, and this is because of Alex Alonso, the editor. Alex Alonso, the editor at the time, no relation. And this guy kind of made Spider-Man gave him more of a Christian angle, and it's like, it's okay to pan towards a religion, but when you make a guy go from, a superhero with problems to being a emotional train wreck with problems.
Yeah.
He's just so happy and stick the wall. It just kind of like was pushing me away, but Straczynski kept pulling me back with all this stuff. Whether it be like the classic battle with Dr. Octopus out in L.A. and all this other stuff. So, that's why I really enjoy the Straczynski and Romita Jr. run. Like, I'm sure, like, I didn't read Back in Black because there was another incident where, oh my God, Aunt May got shot. She's almost dead. I think they should have killed her ass and kept her dead back in the 90s during the whole infamous post-clone saga.
Yeah.
But no, they decided to bring her back, so. I didn't get a chance to read it. And Todd Nugent, actually, who was the artist, I believe, for those books at the time,
Yeah, he was.
he did a pretty good job. And I discovered Todd's work from when he did in Young Justice for DC. So, yeah. So I like their run. For me, it's a really good run. I got some of the trades. And that's of course on the Amazing Spider-Man comic book run. And it's a good read. I recommend people pick it up and to actually see a Spider-Man before he turned into the blithering crybaby.
Yeah.
People that Tobey Maguire more or less stapled him as.
But yeah, like it's interesting from so many different levels, and that's what really brought me back into the book itself. I have to start picking up. Like, Spider-Man came out too much that I didn't really want to read it. Like, I was just like, I can't keep up.
Right.
But now I'm going back and trying to find as many of this as I can. It's just such an interesting read. I just don't want to stop.
Well,
So,
the saga after Moreland is actually, I believe it's called The Life and Death of Spiders.
mm-hmm.
And it's also where like Peter Parker and Mary Jane patch things up.
Yeah.
And it isn't like some thing where he like just tells her, I love you and I'll always love you. It's like when they patch things up, and yeah, I'm hitting more on the romantic side of this whole run that Romita Jr. and Straczynski had. But it's because it stood out and it was so well done. It wasn't some cheesy get back together like Straczynski wrote his fucking heart out for this,
Yeah.
And he had lines like where he told Mary Jane, I'll wait until the star. He's like, how long will you wait for me, Peter? And he goes, until the stars turn cold. I don't care. And I was like, aw, that's heartwarming, But it was heartfelt, and you can kind of tell just by reading it. It's like, wow, like you kind of really believe these two people are really in love, and are willing to go so far for one another.